Cultures of rejection have undoubtedly played its part during the COVID-19 crisis. The opposition to anti-pandemic measures often drew on conspiracy myths and spiritualism, while often finding themselves caught in a noxious relationship with established media. When the pandemic hit Sweden, public perception of the government was already damaged by several government crises beginning in 2014. Under pressure from the populist right, the last Swedish elections in 2018 resulted in an unstable ruling coalition and fueled scepticism about its ability to enact meaningful policies. It was within this political context that Sweden experienced the pandemic. The first government responses relied on people's voluntary compliance until January 2021, when tougher restrictions were enacted. Under labels like freedom, sovereignty, and truth, protesters opposed the restrictions and rejected official explanations and established media sources. Celina Ortega-Soto is a CURE team member at the Linköping University, researching cultures of rejection in Sweden as they relate to the COVID-19 pandemic.
In the protests against pandemic restrictions in Sweden, people from both right and left, often inspired by spiritual and conspiratorial myths, challenged the official explanations of this crisis. The melding of conspiracy theory and alternative spirituality is what Ward and David Voas termed Conspirituality. Although united under placards praising freedom, love, unity, and togetherness, many participants ultimately view political change as a question of individual consciousness or personal awakening. We have observed that these movements are caught in a noxious relationship to established media. Many of the diverse protesters reject traditional media sources and praise alternative and supposedly critical news outlets. As the demonstrations got bigger, new demonstrators revealed that it was the negative reporting itself that had inspired them to join the protests. This spiral, which further polarizes the political landscape, might make it necessary to move the conversation to different topics and ask different kind of questions.
Across Europe, conspiracy myths played a key role in protests against anti-pandemic measures. Many protesters portray themselves as awakened, in contrast to a supposedly slumbering general public. While the protests mobilized masses, a hyper-individualism characterizes most movements against the restriction of daily life and for freedom, sovereignty, and truth. But simply labeling protesters as conspiracy theorists only deepens the polarization observed in Sweden and elsewhere. We've seen how suspicions of collective organizing, skepticism towards democratic institutions, and a disenchantment with economic transformations predate the current crisis. It is on this level that we should think of cultures of rejection in the COVID-19 crisis and ask different questions to shift the political discussion. By engaging with these problems and by asking different questions, could we change the climate for different types of discussions?